Even fluent English speakers fail the NAATI CCL exam. Here is a quick test. TFN, NDIS, Centrelink, GP, bulk billing, ABN. If you cannot clearly explain what each of these means, you might be one of them. In this video, I will show you the vocabulary NAATI CCL actually tests, the must-know terms in every topic area, and exactly how to prepare each one before test day. First, a quick overview. NAATI CCL dialogues are set in everyday Australian situations, so they run on Australian civic vocabulary. The words of government services, healthcare, money and tax, housing, legal matters, and education. Some of these topics do come up in IELTS or PTE, but the Australian terms themselves rarely do. So a high score in those tests is no guarantee here. But there is good news. This vocabulary is a small fixed set. A few hundred terms cover almost every dialogue. And unlike academic English, you can genuinely finish learning them before test day. And to make that easy, everything in this video is in our free vocabulary list. It has 214 terms, each with a translation and a plain explanation in your own language. And we support 26 languages. You can read it online, download it as a PDF, and drill every term with our free flashcards. The link is in the description. Now, let me show you why these words trip people up. So why do fluent speakers fail? IELTS and PTE test general and academic English, essays, graphs, opinions on abstract topics. CCL tests something completely different. It drops you into a Centrelink office, a GP clinic, or a real estate agency, and asks you to interpret both ways in real time. The English itself is simple. The problem is the terms. If you have not lived in Australia, words like superannuation or bulk billing are simply not in your vocabulary yet. And one unknown term can throw off the whole dialogue, not just one segment. These key terms are what tell you which situation you are in. Miss the main one, and you are guessing the scenario as the conversation goes on. And that guessing takes up the mental space you need for interpreting. So you start dropping things you would normally get right. Know the term, and the opposite happens. You picture the situation straight away, and that context makes everything else in the dialogue easier to interpret. That is why these Australian terms are crucial. They are the anchors that hold the whole dialogue together. Before we look at the terms, learn the one rule that handles all of them. It comes from NAATI's own language policy. Split every Australian term into two buckets. The first bucket is proper nouns, the names of institutions and programs. Centrelink, Medicare, the NDIS, myGov. For these, you keep the English name. The second bucket is everything else. Words like bulk billing, lease, bond, or redundancy are not names. They are concepts. So typically you say them in your language, though it depends on the language. Get this split right, and you will always know your first move for any Australian term. Now, the terms themselves. We will go through 16 must-know terms across 6 areas. These 16 are the crucial ones, but they are not the full set. There is plenty more to prepare, and the free essential vocabulary list in the description covers all of it in your own language. The 6 areas are government and welfare, health, money and tax, housing, legal, and education. The first area is government and welfare, and it has 2 terms. First, Centrelink. It is the government agency that delivers welfare payments and services. Unemployment support, family payments, pensions. They all run through Centrelink. In dialogues, people ring Centrelink about a claim, report their income, or ask why a payment has stopped. Second, myGov. It is the online account that links your government services in one place. Centrelink, Medicare, and the tax office all sit behind that single login, and official letters land in the myGov inbox. In dialogues, people are constantly told to log into myGov, upload a document, or check a message there. The second area is health. It is the most tested area, and it has 6 terms. First, Medicare. Medicare is Australia's public health insurance scheme. It gives citizens and permanent residents free or subsidized treatment, and everyone carries a Medicare card. In dialogues, clinic staff ask for a Medicare card or number at almost every visit. Second, a GP. A GP is a general practitioner, the everyday family doctor. In Australia, the GP is your first stop for almost everything, and you need a referral from a GP before you can see a specialist. That referral system comes up in dialogues all the time. Third, a script. A script is the casual Australian word for a prescription. The doctor writes you a script, and you fill it at the chemist, which is what Australians call a pharmacy. Fourth, the PBS. The PBS is the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme. It subsidizes listed medicines, so patients pay a small fixed price instead of the full cost. For a listed medicine, that can mean paying a few dollars instead of hundreds. Fifth, the NDIS. The NDIS is the National Disability Insurance Scheme. It funds, supports, and equipment for people with a permanent disability, and participants manage everything through a plan. In NDIS dialogues, you will also hear the words participant and provider, so learn them together with the scheme. And sixth, bulk billing. It means the clinic bills Medicare directly and accepts that as full payment, so the patient pays nothing for the visit. In dialogues, patients often ask whether a clinic bulk bills, so you will hear it as a verb as well. The third area is money and tax, and it has 4 terms. First, superannuation, usually shortened to super. It is Australia's compulsory retirement savings system. Your employer must pay a percentage of your wage into a super fund on top of your salary, and you generally cannot touch that money until retirement. Second, the ATO. The ATO is the Australian Taxation Office. It collects tax, processes tax returns, and issues the numbers everyone needs. Dialogues with the ATO are usually about tax returns, debts, or payment plans. Third, a TFN. A TFN is your tax file number, your personal number in the tax system. Without one, you are taxed at the highest rate, so people sort out a TFN as soon as they start work. And fourth, an ABN. An ABN is an Australian business number. Anyone self-employed, from a freelancer to a tradie, needs an ABN to invoice clients. And by the way, a tradie is the Australian word for a tradesperson, like a plumber or an electrician. The fourth area is housing, and it has one key word. That word is bond. In Australia, the rental deposit is called a bond, usually 4 weeks of rent. It is lodged with a government authority rather than held by the landlord, and you get it back when you move out if the property is in good condition. The fifth area is legal, and it also has just one term. That term is an AVO. An AVO is an apprehended violence order. It is a court order that protects a person from violence or harassment, with conditions like not approaching or contacting them, and it appears in police and legal dialogues. The sixth and final area is education, and it has 2 terms. First, TAFE. TAFE stands for Technical and Further Education, and it is the public vocational institution. It teaches practical courses like trades, aged care, and hospitality, and it awards certificates and diplomas. And second, HECS. HECS stands for Higher Education Contribution Scheme. It is the government loan that covers university fees. Students do not pay upfront. The government pays, and you repay through the tax system once your income passes a set level. Australians talk about their HECS debt all the time. That is some crucial vocabulary you need for NAATI CCL. Now, how do you actually learn them? As I mentioned, we have free flashcards, so you can pick out the ones you do not know and review them regularly. The full list has 214 terms, but you probably know some of them already, and some are advanced ones you might choose to skip. So realistically, you are looking at tens of terms, maybe about 100. That is not many compared with the vocabulary you need for a high IELTS or PTE score. And make sure you learn these words in context, from real sentences, so you see how they are actually used in a conversation. We also have a free mock test that uses these terms, so you can practice them inside real dialogues as well. Before you go, if there is an Australian term that has confused you before, drop it in the comments and I might cover it in a future video. If this video helped, subscribe because we make more videos on NAATI CCL and how to pass it. Everything I mentioned today is free and the links are in the description. Good luck with your preparation and I will see you in the next video.